That's right. It is time for yet another prediction video. Now, hey fucktards, hit my damn music, bitches. Yeah, more. It's me, Uncle Badass here. Hope you're on a good day. Make sure if you're not subscribed, you press the subscribe button because it's free. It is free and it helps me out a lot. So go ahead and do that. Also, like I said, in my other prediction videos, make sure you're commenting down below who you want me to do next. That's where I'll get all the ideas of who I'm going to predict next. And also, full warning, I just wanted to let you guys know that within these next few days, not saying, tomorrow and, all that, but like within these next few days and all that, I may post like several prediction videos in a certain day, sort of so I can like get caught up a little bit because I've missed these past few days, and I apologize for that. I've just been kind of caught up with a few things, but I'm gonna start getting like back in the rhythm here. So I just figured I'd let you know that. That way you don't get confused. Why I'm posting multiple prediction videos in one day and all that. So just so you know. But today we're doing Clemson's 2025 schedule. Like I said before, I go through each week and I give you a win or a loss prediction. I'm not one of those YouTubers that says, "Oh, I think this team's gonna go 12-0, 11-1, 8-4, 7-5, 6-6." No, I don't do that. No, if there's losses I think a team's gonna have or a loss, I point it out. That way you guys know, and you can let me know if you agree, disagree, or whatever about my prediction. That's how we run it around here. Um, but let's go ahead and get straight to the video now. Last season, Clemson, they had a phenomenal year. Nobody can take that away from them. But the thing that's sort of weird about it it's just that like I felt like last season's Clemson team wasn't that great. Um, and I know that sounds weird because they had a good year last season, but it's I really don't feel like last season's Clemson team was that great and all. Um, they went 9-3 though. They lost to Georgia at the beginning of the year, lost to Louisville sort of about middle of the year. That was their only conference loss last year. And then they lost to South Carolina at the end of the season. So they went 9-3 regular season, but they made it to the AC title game because they only had one conference loss, and Syracuse beat Miami late in the season last season and knocked them out of the AC title game, which cleared a path for Clemson to get in. So Clemson made it to the AC title game, faced SMU in it, and if I'm not mistaken, Clemson won that game. I think it was 33-30 because I think Clemson kicked like a 56 yard field goal to win it. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's what happened. Um, but they won that game. Then they made it to playoffs where they got the 12 seed and faced Texas in the playoffs. I think Clemson played good in that game. I thought they had a legitimate chance in that game, but they couldn't capitalize on the opportunities that they got, and that cost them the game. I think their defense played pretty decent that game. That game honestly came down to which defense sort of made the more defensive stops, and which defense got the more you know stops for whichever team's offense. But I mean, I think Clemson played phenomenal in that game. Obviously, if you look at this year's Clemson team, you look at who all is returning. A lot of key players are returning. Obviously, Cade Klubnik, top 10 quarterback in my mind. I don't think anybody, including myself, can name 10 better quarterbacks than him. Um, you got a few receivers returning, and Antonio Williams. I think his name is Bryant Wesco. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's his name, Bryant Wesco. Uh, They got another receiver coming in as well too. So I think the receivers are going to be good. The receivers, I think, honestly, will be one of their best receiving groups, probably since uh, sort of like their national title runs with Trevor Lawrence and all that. That Clemson team. Those years that they won a few national titles and all that, where they had some good receivers. I think this will be a good receiving group since about sort of that time. Uh, their offensive line should be good. They did hire Matt Luke as their offensive line coach. I think he's one of the best offensive line coaches in the country, maybe the best. Uh, he was with Georgia at one point, but then he sort of I don't know what you want to say, stepped away, retired, whatever, but he kind of stepped away from it, and then he got back into it, and Clemson hired him as their offensive line coach. But I think he's a good offensive line coach. I like him a lot. Uh, the only thing you really lose as far as the offense goes is your running back and Phil Maffa. He obviously was a big part of what Clemson did offensively last season. So I think losing him may hurt you a little bit, but I mean they do have some receivers coming in, whether that's freshmen or transfer portal. But I mean I can't really tell you how good they're going to be and all that because I mean I haven't seen them. But I think if their running backs can be just even halfway decent, I think that'll be good enough for their running game. Because I mean, they're not going to be able to do what Moffitt did. Obviously, that's like Iowa State with Cam Scadaboo, whoever Iowa State's or not Iowa State, whoever Arizona State's running back is, they're not going to be able to do what Cam Scadaboo did. So I mean, it's sort of the same thing with Clemson. They're not going to be able to do what Moffitt did, but maybe if they can be somewhat half decent, then that's something. So that's the only question mark I really have about Clemson's offense. Other than that, I trust their offense. I think it's going to be one of the top 5 offenses probably throughout the whole season. Then you look at their defense. Their front 7 is loaded. It may be one of the best front 7s in the country this season. I really like their front 7 a lot. I do think their secondary is going to be even better this year too. They did hire Tom Allen, who was Penn State's defensive coordinator last season. He did a phenomenal job at Penn State, and I expect him to do the same thing at Clemson. I think he's going to make that defense like sort of bump up another level and be even better than it was last season. So I mean, if you're a Clemson fan, there's a lot to be excited about this season. I'm really high on Clemson. I do think they're obviously a playoff team. If they play even really well enough, they may even be a national title contender. I think they got a hell of a team. Um, and I mean, if you look at their schedule, right here, um, their schedule plays out pretty decently favored. They face LSU week 1. I mean, if you're looking at the schedule, and you're asking me like which games, sort of pop out to me, it's week 1 against LSU, sort of middle of the season against SMU, towards the end against Louisville, and the end of the season at South Carolina. Those are really the 4 games that kind of stand out to me. Um, is there a few other games, that could maybe be, maybe a little tricky or, maybe the team keeps it close, maybe? Yes, but those 4 games I just named are really the 4 that stand out to me. So let's go ahead and get into the prediction and let's see what I think Clemson's record is going to be in the 2025 season. Now, you start off week 1 against LSU. This is going to be a phenomenal game. I don't know if this is going to be a night game or not. I don't know if they've announced that yet or not. But regardless if it's a day or night game, I think this game really comes down to 2 factors. Obviously, you look at LSU, they got a lot of good players. They went into the portal, got a lot of good players. So I mean they're going to be really good this year. I think their defense might be maybe a little better. That's really been LSU's biggest problem these past few seasons is their defense. Their offense, these past seasons it hasn't been top tier, but their offense these past seasons has been at least good enough. It's just been their defense that has been non-existent. They haven't been able to be able to make a good defense. So I mean, we'll have to see if that gets fixed this season. But I mean, this will be a top 10 quarterback matchup between Cade Klubnik and Garrett Nussmeier. But like I said, this game comes down to two, factors. Which coach do I trust? Which coach do I trust more? And where's this game being played at? And Clemson checks out both those boxes. Um, I think Clemson wins this game. I just think Clemson having this as a home game is a huge advantage here. Because like I said, if this is a night game, and if this was at LSU, that is probably one of the toughest places to play at, especially at night, is LSU. It's probably one of the places you do not want to play at, because it's so damn tough. That place is rocking. It's like loud the whole night, the whole game. It's very tough to play there. But also, I just trust Dabo more in this game. He's been able to prove throughout these past seasons that he can win big games. He don't win them all, but if you had to ask me who do I think wins a lot more big games between Brian Kelly and Dabo, I think it's Dabo. It's just Brian Kelly. He's had several opportunities and he has not won that many. Like I said, I'm not saying Dabo has won every big game these past few seasons, but he's won more than Brian Kelly. So I think LSU wins this game. I think they're gonna find a way to win this game. So I think Clemson wins this game. Uh, the next week you face Troy. That's an easy win. Pretty self-explanatory. Clemson will mollywop them. The following week you face at Georgia Tech. Now this game is interesting to me uh, for a few reasons. I mean, it is a road game. And I'm not saying that Georgia Tech is a tough place to play and all that. I don't. It's really not, honestly. But this game's interesting to me because I'm really curious to see how Clemson's front seven is gonna sort of match up against Haynes King. Because the thing about Georgia Tech is they're not a powerhouse team, but for the talent that they have down there in Georgia Tech, they make it work. Um, that's what's kind of fascinating to me with teams like Georgia Tech is they don't recruit that well. They don't get high caliber receivers and all that, but for what they have, they make it work. And if there's one thing we've learned is when Haynes King, when he gets moving, it's really tough to stop him. No matter who's facing them, you could put the very best team against him. If Haynes King is running all over that defense, passing all over, it's really tough to stop him. You can even ask Georgia. Last season, Georgia Tech took Georgia to 8 overtimes. So I mean that should just tell you that Georgia Tech, they may not have a top 5 team, but boy, they will like fight to the end. So I mean, this game is interesting to me. I was about ready to pick this as an upset, but I'll go with Clemson to win this game. But I think this could potentially maybe be a tricky game because I do think Georgia Tech. Um, I have done a prediction for them, but I mean, I've looked at their schedule and all that. I mean, they don't really have that many, really tough games. Once they get past the tough games, and all that, their schedule is pretty, pretty easy to, get through. So I mean, they could potentially maybe contend for a spot in the ACC title game, but I do think Clemson will win this game, but it could be a very tricky game. Um, the following week you face Syracuse at home. Obviously, Fran Brown with Syracuse last season. They went 9-3. Kyle McCord had a pretty good year for Syracuse. They had a receiver. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he had a pretty good year. They beat Miami, like I said, later on the season last season. So I mean they got a few good wins last season. I just think in this game. It's a home game for Clemson. I think you losing, that key receiver, Kyle McCord to the NFL and a lot. I think losing some key pieces is going to hurt you in this game, and I think Clemson's going to win this game. Maybe Syracuse keeps it maybe close, maybe a little bit. I don't know, but I think Clemson eventually will pull away with the win here. Um, After that, you have a bye week. Then after that bye week, you come back to face North Carolina on the road. This should be an easy win. I'm not a believer in Bill Belichick. I know many people think he's going to do something great just because he coached in the NFL, won, I don't know, what, like 7 Super Bowls or something like that. I don't give a fuck. This is not the NFL. This is not. You can be the greatest NFL coach ever. That don't mean you're going to be the best college football coach ever. So I mean, I'm not a believer in him. I don't think North Carolina has a great team to compete with Clemson, and I think Clemson's going to just manhandle North Carolina. So this should be an easy win. Um, the following week, you have another road game at Boston College, another team that I just don't think has what it takes to compete with Clemson. Obviously, Boston College lost their starting quarterback, Thomas Castadickless, to Florida State, the fucking autism university. Um, I just don't think Boston College has what it takes to compete with Clemson. This should be another easy win. That's probably two of the easiest back-to-back road games for Clemson. That they should have no problem with any of those two teams. Uh, the following week, then you have a home game against SMU. This game, was kind of interesting to me too, because obviously, like I said, Clemson beats SMU in the ACC title game. So I do think SMU is going to be a great team this season, just like they were last season. Obviously, SMU made it to the AC title game, lost that, but they still made it to playoffs. A lot of people were questioning after they, got not shut out, but like just absolutely dominated by Penn State. A lot of people were questioning, oh, they didn't deserve to be there. You should put Bama in or something like that. No, Bama did not deserve to be in there. I don't give a fuck if you're a Bama fan or just a college football fan. If you have a working brain, you would know Bama did not deserve to be in that playoff. And nobody's going to change my mind. Nobody. Um, so, I mean, they deserve to be in there and all that. But, I mean, they had a good year last season. I think their quarterback's returning this year. I could be wrong. But regardless if he's not returning, I do think they're going to have a good team this year. I think SMU may come to this game with a little revenge on their mind, but I trust Clemson in this game. It's a home game for Clemson. And I just trust that, I just believe that Dabo is going to find a way to win this game. Because I do think this is going to be a pretty big, like, sort of. I think this is going to be a big game as far as, talking about, maybe who could potentially, be in the lead to make it to the ACC title game. And I just trust Dabo in this situation. So, I mean, I think Clemson's going to win this game. But I do think it's going to be a phenomenal game. Then you have another bye week. After that bye week, you come back, play Duke at home. Obviously, if you don't remember, a few years ago, Duke played Clemson. I don't know if it was on Labor Day or if it was Labor Day weekend. It was one of the two. I think it was the only game on that day. Duke faced Clemson. I think Clemson was ranked top 10. And Duke just embarrassed Clemson live on television where everybody could watch Clemson just get absolutely dominated. It was a very embarrassing loss for Clemson. Duke last season, though, I mean, they went 9-3 as well, sort of like Syracuse. So, I mean, I do think Duke's a pretty decent team. They're not, they're not there yet to where, they're competing for AC title and all that. But I do think they're a pretty decent, okay ACC team. But I think Clemson's too much for them, and I think that's gonna show in this game. So I think Clemson wins this game. Uh, Maybe Duke, like at Syracuse, maybe they get a few points and all, but I do think Clemson will sort of pull away towards the end of that game. The following week, you face Florida State at home. I win, easy win. I don't know what the fuck Florida State's doing. I don't think most of you even know what the hell they're doing. They fuck, they're going out getting 23 fucking players in the portal, and they're teaching their players to go into the press, call out fucking Bama, just to look like a dipshit, saying, "Oh, we start fast and all that." Really? Oh, you do? That's funny. Cause you lost to Northern Illinois week 1 in 2023. You lost 27-24. What? That's starting fast? No. And then the following year, last season, yeah, you're right. You start off fast because you faced fucking Florida State. If anybody who faced Florida State last season is starting out fast, they weren't that fucking good. What? I don't understand what Florida State's doing down there. They honestly should just stop building a fucking football team and start a fucking circus. They should. I don't know. I, that should be an easy win. Florida State will be lucky to put even 20 plus points on Clemson. I'm saying it right now. Call me crazy if you want, but I think Florida State will be lucky if they put 20 plus points on Clemson. That should be an easy win. Um, anyway, the following week you face Louisville at Louisville. I'm gonna give you a loss here. I get the SMU and LSU game. I kind of was 50-50, and I gave you those two wins. I think you slip up here at Louisville. I like Louisville. I think they're one of the most underrated teams, honestly. I think their coach is underrated. I like this Louisville team, and it's not like I like them because they're some sort of special team. No, I like sort of what they do down there in Louisville because they know their identity, so they know who they are as a team. But also they're not afraid to play the game how they want to play. If they want to play the game very slow and steady, they'll do that and it works. If they want to play the game fast, tempo and all that, they'll do it and all that. Whatever they do down there each game and all that, it most of the time works. And I think this game it's gonna show. And I think Louisville's going to get a big win here against Clemson. So I have Clemson losing that game. The following week, you face Furman at home, sort of like the Troy game, pretty self-explanatory. That's an easy win. Then you end off your year at South Carolina. This game's interesting to me because it's sort of like the LSU game, sort of. Because this is another top 10 quarterback matchup, in my opinion, between Gabe Klubnik and Lenore Sellers. Lenore Sellers is probably one of the funnest quarterbacks to watch, and I think he'll be another fun quarterback to watch this season. He may even be a fine Heisman finalist this season. If he plays well enough, he may be. But South Carolina, this is probably one of the best teams they've had, and I don't even know how long. I don't remember the last time South Carolina had even a really good team. But this year, I do think South Carolina is going to be I think South Carolina is going to be in a position to where they're going to sort of make a case for why they think they can make the playoffs. Because I looked at South Carolina's schedule. They got a lot of games that they can prove to everybody that they belong this year in the playoffs. Obviously, last season they were just outside with Bama. I believe Illinois too was outside. So they were just outside last season. But this game, I think it's going to be a phenomenal game. I think this is going to be a really key game, especially for South Carolina, because at this point, I think Clemson has one ACC conference loss. So pretty much, even if Clemson were to lose this game, I still think they make it to the ACC title game. Could potentially still win that and still make the playoffs. So I think this is more of a key game for South Carolina, and I think South Carolina is going to get a win here. I think since it's a road game, I think that place is going to be loud as fuck. the whole game. And I think South Carolina is going to get another win this season against Clemson, which, I mean, that's another thing I want to talk about is, when you're a team like South Carolina, you're beating like a Dabo Sweeney Clemson team just about every season and all that. That's a good accomplishment. I mean, not many teams can do that. So I mean that's a good accomplishment to have because I mean South Carolina, the expectations aren't national title, SEC championship, and all that because they haven't had a good enough team to get there. So I mean that's never been the standard and all that. But when you get wins against like a Dabo Sweeney Clemson team just about every season, that's a good accomplishment. I mean that's something to be proud of. So and I think they're gonna get another win against Clemson this season. I just I think South Carolina is going to want to get a few key wins in a few key games, and I think that they're going to get one here. So I mean, there you have it. I got Clemson going 10-2. I could maybe see them going 11-1. I don't think they're going to go 12-0. Regardless of how good they are, it's just I don't know. It's really hard to go 12-0. But I could maybe see him going 11-1, but I got him going 10-2. Be sure to comment down below how much of a fucking retard this bitch is. And as always, have a good morning.